Hello, students. Welcome to Kaduna State Ministry of Education, e-learning. My name is Kamal Adamu Garba. Subject, geography. The topic is denudational processes. Now, students, we first of all find out what is denudation, the meaning of denudation. 2, the factor depending on denudation. 3, sequences or stages of denudation. We first of all look at the meaning of denudation. Denudation is the process of lowering or leveling the sculpture, the earth surface, by the activities of agent of denudation. The word denudation, denude, is an original Greek word for reduction. That is lowering or cutting. Denudational processes contributes to the lowering or reshaping of the earth. A reshaping of the earth. Some of the forces that really contribute to these denudational forces are this. 1, the wind. And what is wind? Wind is air in motion. Air in motion in the sense that wind is more prolonged, is more pronounced in arid or semi-arid region. So wind erodes the surface of the earth. The second one is running water. The action of running water. For example, if you have rainfall, if rain falls, the rain comes in a different form. Some of the water will go to the air. Some will percolate to the ground. And some will run up on the surface of the earth. Now, the one that runs on the surface of the earth is called running water. And this run-off water eventually erodes, transports this material as it goes along. Either transport and water transports, water erodes, and water deposits. That is the work of this transportation of water. So this water eventually we even erode the surface of the earth. And it erodes the surface of the earth in the sense that its natural condition of the earth surface has been eroded. It has battered the natural surface of the water. And another agent of denudation is glacier. Glacier, if you look at it, it has to do with ice. And this ice is formed in the region of polar region, which is very common. Glaciation activity is very pronounced in area of polar region, where if the temperature is high, the temperature will melt the ice, and eventually the ice will turn in form of water. And this process will erode the surface of the earth to the normal size of the earth. Now, if you look at these causes, the activities, this one, the ice melt as a result of that, as I earlier said, causes this agent of erosion and erode the surface of the earth. Now, look at the waves. These waves are erosional. The wave produce erosional and depositional features in the coastal area, in the coastline. For example, if you look at the waves, it is very common in riverine area where there are different kind of feature it produces. These waves cause erosion and deposition. When the wave erodes, as it goes on, it deposits the material to a certain place and leave the material there, which is known as you can call it you can call it load or you call it material as we go on. Types of denudation. The rate of denudation depends on the following factors. One, because if you look at the nature of the relief, for example, some relief are gentle, some are stiff. Some relief are gentle and some are stiff. The higher the relief, the higher the rate of denudation. If it is a stiff, or if it is a stiff, gentle slope, you expect that the velocity will be higher. If you look at it, it will be very high, and the rate of erosion will be high at the same time. 2, the structure of the earth. It all depends. Some of the structure of the earth, some are soft, while some are very hard. The softer structure of the earth normally it erodes faster. The harder one, eventually, it takes a longer time to erode. It all determines the kind of structure of this earth. Some are, if you look at the example of rock pedestal, where you find alternative way, you find soft and hard rock. Normally, you expect the soft one to erode than the harder one. So that's what it means, the structure of the earth. The third one, the influence of man. The higher the level of man's activities on earth's surface, the greater the denudation. If you look at the earth surface of man, the influence of man, man has tremendously caused a lot of influence on the earth. For example, just look at man constructs roads, man builds houses. This affects the natural environment as a result of that. So all this affects the nature of this. All this affects the nature of the earth's surface as a result of that. Now we are going to see some of the sequences of denudation or denudation. If you don't call it sequence, you call it stages. For example, 1, weathering. What is weathering? Weathering has been defined as the gradual disintegration or broken down of rock material in situ. In situ simply means on the spot. That is, disintegrate on the spot as a result of either chemical or biological weathering, whatever. So if you look at it, this weathering could be either be physical, chemical, or biological. The second is erosion. What is erosion? This is an active wearing away of the earth's surface. Active wearing away of the earth's surface. Very active, either through wind or runoff water can wear away the earth's surface. That is, and through the agent of denudation, such as running water, wind, ice, and waves. Now, let's go to transportation. Transportation. This is the active removal of eroded material to a new position. For example, I told you earlier on that when rainwater falls, some of the water percolates into the soil, and some of them go as runoff water. The one that go as runoff water is now become transport. It goes and transport any material it sees on the way. Material it sees on the way. And this material even help in eroding the soil, the surface of the earth. For example, if the water is running on top of the surface, what happens? It's carried different kind of material. Some in our houses sometimes, you will see if rain is severe, falling, your mother tells the girl, okay, go and throw away this dustbin into the drainage. And what happens to the dustbin? The water that is running in that gutter, what happens? It packed it, carried the dustbin away. And this dustbin that is being carried away is known as material. If you don't call it material, you call it load. And this material that is carried by this running water even helped or aided the erosional, he helped in eroding the surface of the earth and carried this material. And this same water, as it goes on, if the water is severe, it will be carrying the water. It carries the material. But when the water is getting weak, weaker and weaker, it deposits the material there and the water passes. So this water, the water erodes, the water transports, the water erodes, and the water deposits. That is what the water does. Now let's go and see the depositional aspect. As I earlier told you, this is the dumping of debris. That is that material that being carried by water is now being carried to a certain part of the earth, and it lives there. It all depends how the water, the mass of the water, the velocity of the water. So if the water is weak, eventually it leaves the material there. This thing accumulates, and what happens? It turns to soil eventually there. After, as a chemical, that's what I said here, chemical weathering will take place, and this thing now will dissolve or get rotten, and everything will form soil as a result of that. Now, deposition. The same deposition of soil. As I earlier told you, water transports, water erodes, and water deposits. So this water, it deposits this material, and the material accumulates there and eventually becomes soil as a result of that. Now, number 6, mass movement. What is mass movement? Mass movement is the movement of weathered material down the slope. What do you mean by slope? I told you about gradient, where you have gradient. Now, this material is carried by the material will roll down depending on the gradient of the soil. Some of the earth surface, some are stiff, some are gentle. If you want to talk about steep slope, you know that the velocity, it will come down. It will be high. And particularly, if rainwater falls, the rainwater will lubricate the soil and it will soak the material on top of the slope. And now it will aid the speed of this material to come down the slope. That is why I said this is the movement of weathered material down the slope. That is mass movement. And we have different kind of mass movement. Soil slope, we have different kind of slope as a mass, the kind of feature it represents. Students, we discussed about the definition of denudation, the processes. I said denudation is defined as the process of leveling of the earth's surface, the process of leveling or reducing the earth's surface from its original form. Then I said this word, denude, is coined from a Greek word. This word is coined from a Greek word, denude, meaning reduction of the earth's surface. And we talked about some of the stages. We talked about the influence of man over the earth's surface. The influence of man over the earth's surface. For example, man build houses, man construct bridges, man, not only that, burnt the surface or burnt the vegetation. So all these things, we are destroying the surface of the earth as a result of that. We equally talked about the stiffness of the slope. We said the structure of the slope. It all depends on the structure of the slope. Some of the slope are stiff, while some are gentle. Stiff slope, you expect it to be rapid when the denudational process will take place fast. While the one that is gentle, it takes a slow time, it takes a very slow time to really before it affects the surface of the earth. So that one is that. And now we talk about the sequences or stages of denudation. We were talking about mass movement. I told you the effect of mass movement. When this thing is very common on a valley, on the steep slope. Now, mass movement, it all depends on the material. If the material is soaked by rain and the soil, the rainwater lubricates the soil, so there's that tendency, the speed, the velocity, what the material will take down the slope and destroy the surface of the earth is there. It will be rapid compared to a gentle slope. And we talked about the nature of soil. When we talk about nature of soil, we are referring to some of the soil. Some are hard, some are what? Some are soft. It all depends on the nature of the soil. You expect hard soil takes a longer time to erode. And soft soil, if you remember the case of rock pedestal, you will discover that alternate, where you have the soft and the hard rock. The hard one will take longer time to erode than the softer one. The softer one will even, if you, for example, just a good example, you are traveling from here to Zaria, you will just see some rock on top of a mountain, as if somebody puts it there. They are on top of each other. You'll be wondering if you are driving or you are going to a particular town. You'll be wondering, how did the rock, look how they are arranged on the top of the soil, on top of the mountain. This is as a result of erosion. The soft one, don't be surprised, the one that is underneath was softer than the one that is on top. So you find out that this one that is under will erode faster than the one that is on top. It is normal to have soft soil. If you have very soft rock, we erode faster than the hard one. So now, students, let's go quickly and look at some of the assignments that I have given to you now. Define denudation. Define denudation. 2, discuss the sequence or the sequence of denudation. The sequence of denudation. Discuss the sequence of denudation. 3, list 3 agents of denudation. List 3 agents of denudation. My number is 080-3861-9143. In case you have any question to ask, please, you can always ask me and I will tell you. In case 080-3861-9143. 3861-9143. In case you have any question to ask, you could just ask me. I will be at your disposal anytime.